Right, we're heading to Philadelphia next, a town that's having a bit of a moment on TV. There's quite a few Philadelphia shows. Dope Thief is an 8-part drama series for Apple. Follows a pair of longtime friends and delinquents who pose as DEA agents to rob an unknown house in the countryside. Things go bad pretty quickly, though, as their small-town grift catches up with them, literally. Created by Peter Craig and exec-produced by Ridley Scott, who directs the first episode, this dark show stars Brian Tyree Henry and Wagner Moura as they navigate the biggest hidden narcotics corridor on the eastern seaboard. That's a lot of drugs. Joining us today to talk Dope Thief are Brian Tyree Henry and Peter Craig. Right. Before we start stealing candy from babies, let's watch a clip.
You listen to me now. I have to cleanse my soul. It's important for me. I'm getting married.
I hear you, and I get that. But I'm telling you, man, that whatever you waiting for, it's not happening, okay? So we need to go right now.
Chris in here? How many different ways do we have to go to hell, Ray?
Look, right now we in this together, Manny. Me and you. Now, look, I promise you that I will drop you off back here, but I need you to go with me right now.
This is a nightmare.
What do you want me to do?
I'm not going.
I
Okay,
need you to go,
stop doing
man.
this. Don't make
I
it
don't.
seem
I'm
bad.
going. Come on, man.
Stop doing
I'm not
this.
doing this.
I'm getting.
Here, I'll get right down on my knees right now. Oh, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I ask that my best friend will come. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus, indeed. Peter, let's start with you. You've written a couple of small films, things like Top Gun, Maverick,
Very tiny things.
Batman.
The Town.
Gladiator 2, The Town, but this is all yours. How does this one feel?
Well, it was great. It was great to get to do it with Brian the whole way through. And honestly, this was the most fun I ever had in my life. We sat down at the very beginning and we said, let's just work on this character together. Let's just collaborate on this and just get, I just love making it. I don't really love everything after the fact as much. All of this is fun.
Well, thank you for coming.
But yeah, but I just love being in it day to day. And there's days where everything's falling apart on the set, and you're the showrunner, you got to put out all these fires and everything, and I just look around and go, I actually love this. This is what I want to be doing the most. So I hope we just get to go right back into the next thing together, because this guy is a dream to work with.
Good, good. We'll get there. When did you come across this? So it's based on a book by Dennis Tafoya. When did you come across that? When did you think, you know what, there might be something in this?
Well, it was kind of crazy. I mean, this is a shout out to Apple, because Spencer Wong, the executive, just had this book laying around. It was from 2007, I think. And he showed it to me right before COVID. And I just read it. I said, you know what, I think I can pop this as an inciting incident and then just take these characters as far as we want. And then really I was just playing with it over COVID, not knowing whether the show was going to go or not. Just kind of using it almost like worry beads. And you can tell in the vibe. I mean, I know in the intro it says it's a dark show, but it's actually not. It's actually almost a kind of absurdist comedy in some places. So then when Ridley came aboard, all of a sudden we had a show. Brian came on shortly after that. So.
Yeah, you said that you always had Brian in mind. Did you know that, Brian? So when you first spoke to Peter, what was in your head? What were you thinking? You read this book, or you read the script and thought, there's something to this for me?
It came at such a weird time in my career, because I literally was filming this series called Class of '09, and I was in the middle of the thick of it. So the show takes place in the past, present, and future. So like I was in future prosthetics. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was pissed, I was tired, and I had just wrapped the final season of Atlanta at the same time, and I was like, I think I need a break. I was like, I think I need a break. And my wonderful manager passed the script to me. She was like, well, Peter Craig is doing this show, and I was like, is it TV? She's like, yeah. I was like, no, thank you. like, I don't know if I'm ready to do. But
was that just because you'd done a lot?
Yeah.
You as you said, you come in off the back of those.
And it was also just like, there seems to be this trend where people love to put me through trauma, you know what I mean? Like I'm either being shot at in a bulletproof vest, crying, all this stuff. I was like, why can't I just like own a sandwich shop and be in love? It's so like it's true. Like this is what I want. And so I read this, man, and I just couldn't stop reading it. And then I heard that they were willing to let me executive produce as well, which I was like, I can't turn that down. But the character of Ray was just so, I couldn't deny him. You know, like there were so many parts of Ray that reflected me, which I try to do with all the characters that choose me. I try to figure out like what my connection to them is. And Ray came at a point in my life where I, you know, really was doing some deep healing, and I saw this character, Ray, just trying so hard to figure out what his trauma was, what his grief was, and also there was just a huge heart to him, and so I couldn't deny it. And then when I met Peter, it was like, well, shit. It's like, you know, so it was an easy choice to make.
Having said that, you do get shot at quite a bit in this.
Every episode, like every single episode. And I remember talking to you, I was like, so like, what did I do to you?
I remember you thought 6 was going to be your easy episode. It's coming up.
There's a whole episode where I don't really speak, but I am.
He's on the
tune in
floor.
this Friday.
Yeah.
You'll see what happened. But yeah, no. But I'd never been in safer hands than with Peter. Like our collaboration was truly connected in a way that I had never experienced, and I would do anything with this man. I'd go to the moon with this man.
One day, someone will write you a Delhi.
Anybody
You could
out
be in
there,
love
listen,
in
man,
Delhi.
Like, tell your friends, do a Reddit, say that Brian Tyree Henry needs to be in love and own a sandwich shop. Because I am tired.
But before we get to the sandwich shop, you mentioned that you know you had sort of this redemption to Ray, because it's. You said it's not a dark show. I would argue it is dark, but also funny at the same time. There are, I mean, even that church scene is dark and quite funny. It toes the line, right, between the two.
Yeah, I think this was the most exciting about shows like this, because even when we, you know, my amazing co-star Wagner Moura, you know, we both, I mean, this man, he's just one of the best humans, and not just one of the best actors, but one of the best humans I've ever met. We would have discussions because we were like, well, we know what this looks like. A Black and Latino man, drugs, violence, like we've seen this shit. So how is this different? And you know, what we realized, what Peter had kind of conjured up, is that deep down it's a love story between these two men who have been incarcerated since they were 15, put in a system that told them they can't be anything, and then released into the world and still trying to figure out what kind of men they want to be. And, you know, they just decide to pretend to be DEA agents and rob trap houses. What's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, this is where the love story goes. And just to watch that kind of relationship unfold, because that's something that we hadn't seen a lot.
Yeah, the story of friendship.
Yeah, like we hadn't seen that kind of intimacy and vulnerability and tenderness, and it required a lot between Wagner and I, who are also trying to shed the personas that people know us as. Like everyone knows us as Pablo Escobar. I came out here and somebody said Paperboy somewhere here, and so it's like I'm just trying, you know, it's like, so we are also like, this gives us a chance to like kind of build a new bridge and show like the tender sides of who we are, you know, and, you know, like, while also having a lot of violence and drugs. But, you know, love is like that. So, you know, like, but that was what we were really excited to do, and that's what Peter elevated.
Yeah, you say we've seen this before. You know, as you say, he played Pablo Escobar in Narcos, black man, Latino man, but this is not like that. You're not very good drug. I mean, I wouldn't say
we're terrible.
You're not very good at it.
We're terrible at it, and that's the best part. Like,
it's not planned. They're not masterminds at all.
They accidentally stumbled across this house that turns out to be incredibly important to some very big drug dealers, but it wasn't planned.
You know, to them, it's like neighborhood embezzlement, kind of. It's around, they're going to just poach a little off of things here and there. They barely plan anything out at all. And that's the joy of watching them. It's actually the opposite of a mastermind story. We have so many things about people who are great at being criminals, great at being drivers, great at being everything else. These are guys that just shouldn't be doing this at all. Yeah.
At all. Like I said to you, I was like, because they had been in the system for so long, so I was like, well, what are they supposed to do? Go get a job at Chipotle? Like, no one's gonna, like, you know. But then I was also like,
I mean, they'd be bad at that too.
But I was also like, where'd they get these DEA jackets printed?
Right.
That takes some initiative at the same time. But that is what we thought was most exciting, of like watching these guys try to figure it out, trying to do the right thing, but around every corner they're just not great at it.
And they're actually good-hearted people. I mean, they actually have more morality than anybody around them, including most of the law enforcement and most of everybody else. They just have been thrown into a system where morality gets in the way.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Good point about I did wonder when I was watching that, where did they get those DEA jackets? It's not something you can buy on Amazon, is
Well,
it?
I mean,
Hustle.
that's a scene we edited out of the early script. It's actually like you can go get them at
Watch them
flea
go
markets,
to
all
Joann's
kinds of things.
Fabrics, they
Yeah,
go, you know.
no, right, exactly.
I guess the drugs are the sort of hook, but actually, as you point out, this is a sort of story about these two men who, you said, they've been in and out of prison. They're trying to figure out their worth, right? And it's a bit more complicated than just they're good or they're bad.
Well, you know, when you go in to prison, you kind of freeze at that age.
At that age, yeah.
Yeah, and so they're really like teenagers, even though they're grown men, because they just haven't developed past it, and they're trying to. They're right at the cusp of doing it, but they can't. This big
And the system
thing comes
keeps
up.
them that way. You know what I mean? Like, I really believe that when you put black and brown men in prison at a certain age, the system is building it to keep them in that place of develop. They don't get a chance to develop. They don't get a chance to, and then by us setting it in Philadelphia, which has one of the highest incarceration rates in the country, has just as many prisons as museums. We,
A lot of museums too.
Yeah, like when we wanted to highlight that and really showcase what that is, because my character Ray was born and raised in this city, and that's something that I find that I'm often it's an honor to do. I get to play these men who are natives of the city where the stories take place. Alfred was born and raised in Atlanta, never left. James and Causeway, born and raised in New Orleans, never left. And then they suffer these immense milestones of highs and lows in a city that they just can't leave. And so now you have Ray in a city that has incarcerated him since he was 15, trying to figure out how to make it with his best friend. And what does that look like? Like, what are the challenges that come along with that?
Despite wearing a New York Yankees hat, it's a bit of a love letter to
I
Philadelphia.
knew there was gonna be some smoke in this, like. And I looked at myself in the mirror before I left. I was like, "You about to wear a Yankees hat in LA? What are you doing?" And then when I go to New York, I'm like, "Well, I'm about to wear a Dodgers hat in New York." And I'm like, "I don't care. Like, it's a great color, and I'm gonna wear it." How dare you?
You spend enough time in Philly, you know better
I do
than
know.
me.
I wouldn't wear either one of them in Philly. I know that much.
What was working with Ridley Scott on the pilot like?
Oh man, really, I don't know if you guys know, he's done this a long time. And I think we got Ridley right as he finished Napoleon. He did our show and was already prepping for Gladiator 2. So it was like having that dad who had those two secret families and you only see him for that one holiday. It's just like, where are you going, Dad? Really, I don't know, really, he's a walking masterclass, honestly, like, especially for an actor, because he films with no less than 6 cameras, okay?
On the cameras.
And you're lucky to know where those cameras are. So, like, you know, he's not a man of many takes, which I wouldn't be either if I had 6 cameras. But I loved it because it felt very much like theater, right? Like, because when you're doing the stage, that curtain comes up and that's it. There's no, hold on, let me stop, like, let me go back. You have to have your choices, you have to go. And so really brought that kind of energy. It was also really great to know that you're working with a director that you're never gonna see because he directs from a hidden trailer somewhere on the street.
I was in the horse trailer.
Is it?
Yeah. He's got 6 big screens in there.
In a trailer
and-
like
yeah.
Minority Report, just
Right.
going like this to different screens. And so you know you're doing great if you see this wonderful 87-year-old man running towards you with all the speed he can to tell you that he loved your take. And he gave me one of the best pointers, like, cause you know, when you become an EP, I don't know if you know this, but you get an office. So I got an office. And I decorated my office with ottomans and bubbles and stuff because I wanted everybody to come in, and it was great. But his office was next to mine, very different office. Than
No ottomans.
Very ultimate, like very brutalist. And so he calls me in, and we just have this conversation, and he just says to me, he was like, "Brian, I've been doing this for a long time, and all I'm looking for are for actors who make me go, I never thought of it that way." And I was like, say less.
Yeah.
Like that's wonderful. Like that to me just already gave me my charge of what I needed to do. And that, you know, we picked each other at the right time. Like, it was so wonderful to hear that from him. So yeah, it was great. I mean, like, really, I mean, it's an experience. But it was wonderful. It was really wonderful to have him on this.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Peter, it ends you slightly differ from the book, right? So I know the final episodes haven't aired yet, but if you have read the book, you won't necessarily know how this is going to play out, right?
Right. You won't know. And Dennis Tafoya's okay with that. Yeah, he says. He gave me his blessing.
Good. How limited? I know everything is limited series these days. How limited is Dope Thief?
That feels loaded.
Yeah, right. We don't
I'm
know.
looking you dead in your eyes, and you just got this twinkle of like, boop, drop the bomb.
How limited is
Actually,
anything?
isn't it?
We
In
don't
fact, it's a
know.
compliment saying, is there more to this story?
There is, if there were, you would start in a different capacity. I mean, there's enough, the door's open enough that you'd go to a new area with some of the characters that are ready to go there. But, it's an ambidextrous ending. It can put a period on the whole thing, or it can be an ellipsis.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, man.
Brian,
Thank you
Peter.
so much.
Thank you.